leave a like and subscribe.
"1961. Well, London was buzzing, swinging 60s was just beginning, everything was changing, fashion, politics, we had the pill, some women were going out to work, like me, and it was a very busy area, most respectful, and that's when I met the notorious Kray family.
When I was about 19, come out of prison, as a young then, I knew their father, and sometimes I'd go home with the Krays, the father rather than, and they were back from evacuation, Reggie and Ronnie. They was only about 9 years of age, and they used to call me Uncle Frank.
I met Charlie, the elder brother. He was the elder by 7 years from the twins. I met him first, found him most handsome and charming. Then he introduced me to his mother at their house in Valence Road. He said she wanted someone to come home and do her hair every week rather than sit in a salon and be inundated with requests, which she always was. So along I went. I met this charming, lovely, kind, typical East End mother who just happened to be the mother of the most notorious men in London. She couldn't sit in a hairdressing salon without someone saying, "Do you think Ronnie could speak to this one? We're having a little problem with this neighbour. Could Reggie come down and speak to them?" The poor woman just couldn't go anywhere, so hence I went home to do the hair.
I used to go round the Krays' house as a friend, because how I met them, I saw this woman in Bethnal Green Road, shopping bags, and I said, "Old lady, can I give you a hand?" She said, "Oh, would you, son?" So anyway, she lived in Valence Road. I didn't know who she was. When I got to the doorstep, I went to give her the bag, said, "Come and have a cup of tea." I couldn't believe it. Two geezers in there, you couldn't tell them apart. They was Ronnie and Reggie.
I found Mrs. Kray, Violet, a wonderful child. I had an affinity with her the minute I met her. I knew I'd have a friend for life. Typical mother who loved and adored her three sons. I think Charlie got pushed out a little bit with her affection for the twins, and they were always demanding of her time. Mr. Kray, who I always called Mr. Kray and never called Charles the whole years I met him, I found him quite a withdrawn, miserable man, but then he wasn't there very often, hence no authority, no fatherly authority in the house. When he came back, the boys, as they were growing, had taken over the house, and his word went for nothing. And in the early days, he was quite abusive to Violet. She told me this herself. And one day when he was being abusive to her, he didn't know Ronnie was in the house. I think Ronnie was about 17 then. And he was upstairs and he heard that he had hit her. And he ran down the stairs and he had him up against the wall and said, "If you touch our mother again, I'll kill you." And I basically think he definitely meant that. I think this stemmed from being little boys. She always told me, Violet, they were fighting in the playground. They had to be the bosses of the play. She went round the school many times. She was called round to stop the fighting because they'd fight as one.
What used to happen was, started in the school playground, having little scraps, chinning people, and then after that, in the street, chinning people.
Then when they became boxers in their teenage years, that anger was taken out in the ring. That's why they always won their fights. Then Reggie had a fight with a policeman, which took his any chance of being a professional boxer away. So I think it was stemmed from maybe the grandfather, the famous boxer Cannonball Lee, which Reggie inherited the left hand punch from. And then later on his famous cigarette punch that he called it. But I don't think it was ever an act. I think they were destined from little boys to be leaders she spoilt them terribly. What they wanted, they had, and then they grew up and they thought what they saw, what they wanted, they took.
It was a mixture of fear and respect. Respect because women and children, untouchable. Ordinary guys who went to work and that, untouchable. Any rows we had was only amongst ourselves, and if we hurt or killed one another, so what? And therefore, people did have a lot of respect, yeah.
Oh, they was violent, yeah. I mean, in their own little way, I suppose, they was violent, yeah, so was we, wasn't we? I tell you that if they put me and my brother in a cell with them two, there's only two people coming out, that's me and my brother. Both of them, I mean, they was both no brains, what I would say, no brains, you know. They wanted to be gangsters. They set out to be gangsters. Used to read gangster magazine, gangster comics and things like that.
I was invited to go around the house one day, and I went down there and they're all sitting, the twins and Charlie sitting there, and then Charlie stood up and said, "Welcome to the firm," like some fucking board meeting. They said, "We want you on our firm to earn money with us. Forget all them bank robberies and shit like that." And then they put me on a succession of doors in different clubs. So you become a face. They use you because you're a face. They know that people will respect when you're on the door. They go, "Oops, don't start fucking about in here. It's the firm, it belongs to the firm."
I used to live with Reggie and Ronnie. All of us, three of us used to live there, four of us used to live there first. There was me, Ronnie, Ian Barry and Reggie.
A lot of people ask me who was the dominant twin, and a lot of people really believe it was Ronnie. It may have come more like that as he got older. I don't think at the beginning, Mrs. Kray never told me that there was a dominant twin. They used to call them the two ones where they lived, because, and I still believe they were two people, but in one person. As they grew older, and Ronnie's illness, he became a paranoid schizophrenic, which he was for the rest of his life, untreated. And when he went into his violent rages, I think, you know, there's only two people on earth that could stop him, and that was Violet Kray, his mother, and Reggie. So I think Reggie slipped into that role as pacifier and to look after him.
I stayed in Ronnie Kray's flat when he'd escaped from Epsom, and he was holed up in his flat, and they gave me his flat to live in, and I got my wife and kids over there. They went to school over there, and that's how I come to live in the East End and got to know the Kray family very well. I never trusted Reggie. I thought he sat on the fence and he would go whatever way suited him, whereas Ronnie was more, if he gave his word, he would stick to his word. Dave was the nuttiest one of the two, and he was on this drug, the horse tranquilizer, and knock a horse over, what he used to take, you know. But he needed that every day to keep himself, because he was manic depressive, you know, and he thought if people looked at him too long, he thinks they're going to attack him or something. You know, he was one of those very insecure people. I was asked to go over again to see them, and I walked into this bungalow, and there was a fella called Charlie Clark. He was an old cat burglar from years ago, and when I walked in there was a terrible atmosphere, and all the rest of the firm are sitting there, fucking worried out their life. And there's Ronnie Kray pacing up and down in his braces with a cigarette, which is to light it one after the other, and puffing away, marching up like a caged tiger or a lion in a cage, you know. I said, what you got me here for? What's the problem, you know? So he said, it's that Billy Gentry. He said, I'm gonna, you know, I'm getting them. I've sent the firm out to pick him up and bring him back. He's gonna do him. I said, what for? What's Billy Gentry done? You know, he's upset me. He did this. I said, well, you can't fucking do these things. I said, what are you doing? I said, what you got me here for? I can't help you out. You know, I'm not going to help you out in this situation. Billy Gentry's a nice guy. He's a good fella. I've known him for fucking years. I've done loads of bird with him. Every time I went in a nick, he seemed to be there, you know, Bill. He's a nice kid. Anyway, all the rest of them, all the community, they sent out like 4 fellas to go and pick him up and bring him back so that one could fucking shoot him, you know, or kill him, whatever way was going to do it. And I said, no, I'm so sorry. I said, I can't have it. I said, I'm talking him out of it. And I said, I ain't got any facilities to handle this situation anyway. I said, it can't be done. Now forget about it, Ron, and you know, calm down. And of course, I've just got him round to that, where he accepted the fact that he wasn't going to, you know, go through with it. And the fucking doorbell rings, doesn't it? They're back, aren't they? They've come back. I said, all right, let me go. I went down the passage to get to the door first, opened the door, and if Bill Gentry's there, I'm going to push him and say, now fucking leg it, you run, you know, just go. But they was there, it was Donahue and another couple of people, and they come back and they winked at me, they gave me a wink, they went, we couldn't find him, we looked everywhere, we couldn't go into the front, and then Ronnie cried, did you go down the Widows, did you go down there, where did you look there and look for him and everything? And I thought, well, what's he fucking raving mad here, you know? And that was a sort of a very worrying situation then. The thing would have been much better if the fucking ironed out the 2 twins earlier, and it saved a lot of trouble, and a lot of people wouldn't have gone to prison, and it saved 250 years being dished out at a later date, you know, and people have been alive today. That was my thoughts, and several other people who was connected with me. That was our thought, you know, because they were a danger to everybody and everybody else, and they was out of control. I mean, with people like that topped it, the Billy Gentry thing, you know, when that particular incident, when I reported back to my pals what had happened that night, you know, there's only one thing for it. That's in the Simpsons in the Strand, that took place, discussion.
I know he's a legend today. I'm wrong to say that because a lot of people admire the Krays. But as far as I'm concerned, no, I don't. They weren't properly organised. There was no legions. There was nothing. There was no control, money laundering, none of that. It was all, I'm who I am and you have to take it or leave it. The rank was all wrong.
I'm glad they're 6 foot under the best place they can be.
Yeah.
They were 2 horrible bastards. You don't hurt your own, but they hurt anybody then. People feared the Krays. And do you know why they only talked to them when they see them in the market? Because they were terrified of them.
People who say the lovely boys didn't know them.
They were bloody animals.
Well, if you didn't fear him, you either was very brave or stupid, or you was telling lies. You was telling lies if you said you never feared them, because they were really frightening if you really knew them.
I thought they should be ironed out, to be honest, because they was dangerous to everybody, and if they hadn't been arrested when they were, that's what would have happened. That was on the cards, yeah.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please join our Facebook group. It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see you there soon.
Leave a like and subscribe.